Daily Pickle. It's a Daily Pickle.
All right, I think we kind of covered Jorge Lopez enough.
Who?
Just looking at his numbers, he's not very good. How about it's a numbers game and you're paid for your numbers and you're not very good? I don't see the problem here.
I don't either. Temper tantrum. Get out of here. Bye-bye.
Exactly. And the thing I hate the worst is you're trying to compare Bryce Harper throwing a helmet into the stands. First of all, Bryce Harper, if he continues to play this way, is a Hall of Famer. Okay? This guy does nothing but win. He does nothing but play hard, play well, and he loves Philadelphia. He didn't say, I hate being here. I hate this team. I think this is the worst team in Major League Baseball. That's not what Bryce Harper's about. That guy's a gamer. He wants to play. So this guy, who, like I already alluded to, has been on 7 different teams since 2015, but he was out of the game. It was 2015, back in the minor leagues, up in 2017, 2018. He's on different teams. And then just last year alone, with an awful season, was on 3 different teams. So don't tell me about Bryce Harper and Jorge Lopez. They're 2 different people.
2 different universes.
Exactly. So just trying to go on social media and try to compare and stop it. You know, I'd rather talk about Lindor and Alonso and guys that are your highest paid players, because if we were talking NBA, we would be breaking down when I broke down Anthony Davis, LeBron, Westbrook, all making between the 3 of them over $130 million for 3 guys. That we could sit there and argue about because they're all apples on the same team. So this is your apples and oranges. Philly's playing great. They're in first place. They have the most runs scored this year. They have the most hits in baseball right now. And they're second in home runs. We're going to compare an awful Mets team to the Phillies? Please, stop. But let's talk about the interference play, because it happened again in the first inning where there's a pop-up in the infield. It's an infield fly rule,
now
one out.
In Los Angeles, Yankees, Angels last night. Early in this ballgame, first inning.
And if you watch the replay, which I've watched it a couple of times, again, the player, if you go to the rule book, has the right to go back to the base and stand on the base. He doesn't have to try to advance. He doesn't do anything. The batter is out. The ball does not need to be played. That's the key in this whole rule. The shortstop could just let it fall now, and nothing's going to happen.
Right.
He doesn't need to make the play. The umpire not only calls the batter out, but now he calls Juan Soto out, which, of course, and I will back Aaron Boone here, I would go mental.
Yeah.
That's a bad call to make a subjective call and say that Soto should have stood off the base, let this guy catch it, and then try to go back to the base is insanity. And that's what's going on here in Major League Baseball, where you don't have a commissioner that is going to step in and be like, guys, this is a bad call. Now, again, after the other call that was called interference, Major League Baseball came out the next day and said that was the wrong call. That's not interference. The runner has a right to get back to the base. That call should not have been made. And a week later, you make the same lousy call because obviously you didn't send out a memo to these umpires. Guys, the runner has the right to go back to the base and still be safe. Like you used to play a game where like the pitcher's mound was like your safe area.
Right.
You used to hit a ball. We used to call, I can't remember what it was called, but you used to run to second base and try to get home before they got the ball in. It was like,
pitcher's hand?
It was something like that.
I used to play
but
pitcher's hand.
it's a safe area.
Yeah.
The bases in that interference play, or not interference, in the infield fly rule, they have a right to get back to the base. It's written right in the rule. So the ball doesn't need to be played. That's the point here. The batter is quickly called out. Now, if he does make a catch on the ball, like say he's running towards center field and he catches it and it carries him in the out, you could try to tag up, but that's a risk on you now. That becomes a runner is at risk of trying to make it to another base. But that's a whole different part of the rule. You're saying that Juan Soto impeded the Angels shortstop from making that play.
I've always thought, as infield fly goes, that you've eliminated the shortstop, second base, third base, first baseman to do the cheeky move of letting it drop with 2 men on.
That's why it was made.
Loaded,
that's why the rule was instituted.
And that would be an easy triple or double play. And that is, little league stuff.
Now, you could still do that play when it's not first and second. When it's just a guy on first, they
Right.
won't call infield fly, so
Exactly.
you can make it drop. And then I've seen, then they've been doing it in college.
Of course.
They do it at every level, and you could throw the guy out at second.
Yeah.
But all you're really doing, so the batter's not out. He still has to run to first.
And
That guy is thrown out at second.
But the thought is that's no harm, no foul,
Right.
because the batter is going to be safe at first
That's
if the
right.
ball is up there long enough. So that's
But let's just say I have a fast runner on first, and now I have Peter Alonso is coming to first. I'd rather have Peter Alonso now the base runner than say Lindor.
and that's a great strategy, and I'm totally cool with that. So, in my recollection of Little League baseball, this is why we did this. And once the
Exactly.
infield fly is called, everybody just go back to the bag, and it doesn't matter if he catches it or not. He's already out. Like, the play's done. I don't know how in the last 2 weeks we have screwed this Little League call up. And the one thing I think of is the phrase, we got to get it right. Because I am raging against all these stupid replays that we have to go through. Now, sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong, don't we have a central command center that we
do
go to?
in New York.
Can't the central command where I know it was a late game, and I know we had some early
No,
baseball.
they're up.
They should be up and alert,
They're
right?
up.
It's not like sleeping. We got a hamster wheel. They've been drinking. I don't know. How can they not just buzz in like, hey, boys, you got that wrong. Let's clean this up.
And which is a great point by you. It should happen because it happens in the NFL. If there's some kind of infraction
Right.
in the NFL, they can tell them and go, hey, you got to go back and you got to change that.
Without a coach's challenge,
Right.
without anything like that. Like, we're just trying to be, get all the rules right, especially
We're just
the
trying
ones
to get
that
the
are
call
Little
right,
League.
which is what I keep going back to. Before replay, there was like 15 years ago where the 4 umpires would get together to try to make sure you got the call right. Then you started doing replay, and this is when I was working for the Nationals. One of the first times they did replay on a call, the pitcher for the Nationals, and I was livid about it, stood out on the field for 5 minutes. That's absurd. You're trying to speed up the game at the same time, and there was a commission back then
Right.
trying to figure out how to speed up the game, blah, blah, blah. And now you're letting the team stand out there for 5 minutes. First of all, I always think fan first. I'm always thinking, what is the fan thinking? Whether you're at home or at the game, I don't even get enough action in a baseball game. Over the 3 hours I'm at a game, you're getting a few minutes of action. The rest of it, you either love the game or being there, the atmosphere, but it's not an exciting game. I'm going to admit it's a boring game at times. It's hard for me to watch, and I watch thousands of them. So now you're going to have everybody standing around for 5 minutes while the umpires physically walk off the field and go look at it.
Don't we have earpieces?
We do now. We put the headphones on. That's the big signal now. Put the headphones on. But it's the stupidity of it is if you're trying to get these calls right. I agree with you, Ben. Get New York to be like, that's not the call. That's not the call. Soto's fine. Shut up. Go back to umpiring second base, but it's not interference.
So true.
And it would alleviate all of this because now we're not talking about how well the Yankees are playing right now. They're one of the best offensive teams in baseball. They're doing a lot of this without Garrett Cole. I think it's fantastic. But at the same time, we're not discussing baseball. We're discussing rules and umpires being stupid.
I think they're umping themselves out of a job. Like, the whole robot ump talk keeps on coming up.
Well, it's already been said they can't do that because of what we've already said.
They're working on it.
They're working on it. It's not foolproof. It continues to call bouncing balls into the catcher's zone strikes.
But plays like this is just going to expedite that process.
Well, and again, even with a computer ump, at least someone's going to tell the computer, okay, you know what? That's not that call. That's not the right call.
I hope so, but I'm not seeing that, Dibs. I'm seeing we're going to get the calls wrong. We know they're wrong, and just everybody deal with it.
But another call at home plate came up where they said the catcher didn't grant the right. The catcher was standing on the plate. What do you want me to do? Stand a foot behind the plate now?
Yes, just give it to him.
First of all, exactly. We're just going to give you home.
Yes.
Just like, the end zone. Go ahead, score a touchdown. We don't care anymore. But my point is, you changed the rules because you didn't want a bang-bang play at second where the guy got hurt.
Right.
You didn't want the Buster Posey rule where the catcher could get hurt.
Right.
So now you've got to do certain things. But now we've reversed that 180. Now the catcher can't be in the way of the runner. This is absurd to me. The whole point of baseball is to stop you from scoring. My job was when, second and third inherited runners, I can't allow them to score. I've got to do my job better to make sure they don't score. And I actually heard this in a game. I think it was the Red Sox game. Bernardino was saying, well, yeah, when I come into the game, I really don't want the other guy's runs to score. No S, Sherlock. That is your job. But the
Brilliant.
fact is, we are now like, everything is ultra heightened aware. No, dude, it's just baseball. Go get guys out. Go do your job. It's not special. You're not special for not. It's always been this way. So now we're trying to like overanalyze everything and make that play special. It's not really a special play. It's actually like, okay, batter's out. It's an out. Let's move on. I never really thought about it to where you could call somebody interfering with that, with a non-play.
Same here.
That can we stress that enough? You don't need to play the ball.
It's one of my least favorite things in baseball, the home plate tag, because we have totally bastardized this whole play, where it was the most exciting thing. The first game of the season with the New York Yankees, Soto throws a guy out at home.
Yep.
Great play, but we looked at it for like 15 minutes just to make sure everybody was doing the right thing. Their feet were in perfect position. That way it wasn't interference. I don't know, Rob, was he leaning in? Was the ball there way before he made his slide into home? Let's look at it. Let's slow it down frame by frame. And by that time, I've already got my popcorn. I've already considered this game's over. I'm in the parking lot. I'm trying to get the hell out of the game. So, like, you are just killing emotion.
No, you're
all
sucking
over
the life out of it.
Sucking the life out of the game.
Last year, we had a record for attendance last year again. It had been down for like 5 years.
Yeah.
You had 70 million people want to go to games. Here's the key phrase here. Wanted to go to games.
Yeah.
You're making them now want to stay away. Because why do I want to go where you got a dumbass umpire at second base making stupid calls? You got an umpire at home that needs to check replay and then come back and go, by the way, even though he tagged that guy out, he's safe. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. The play is a bang-bang play. It's a fun play. God, when I think of bowling guys over, first of all, Norm Charlton comes to mind. But Ray Lankford was amazing. Remember he used to play with the Cardinals, was a former college football star.
Yep.
This guy would crush a catcher.
Yep.
I looked forward to Ray Lankford taking people out, and he wasn't on my team. So it's like now you're saying we can't do that anymore. Instead, we're going to take the catcher out of the equation. You just get to tiptoe across home, and you're safe.
We got NCAA baseball starting tomorrow. UConn taking on Duke. That's a 1:05 first pitch when you're going to be watching a lot of regional baseball across the country all weekend long. You're going to see this play all weekend long, and you are going to see a lot of different umpires looking at the same exact thing with multiple opinions. And it's not because they're wrong. It's because the rules are so hard to interpret when it comes to the play at home plate. Did he have a freedom of movement? Did the ball beat him there? Like all these little things that never used to exist in our minds back from 1867 all the way to when Buster Posey got trucked. We were just fine. Everything was fine with life. But now we've made it such a weird situation.
We're taking the fun out of it. When Bob Joyce, our good friend and part of our show, and he does all the other UConn stuff, he's also a high school umpire. When he came back one day from the CIAC Rules Committee, they want to take eye black off the faces of the players. I mean, it's so absurd because they think kids are getting out of control. I could care less. Now the girls do it. My daughter plays lacrosse. They're wearing eye black. I don't care. Anything we can get these kids to want to play, you want to suck the life out of it. That's what's infuriating to me. I was coaching in L.A. when Bryce Harper was a star in high school and college, and he was putting the eye black on. And now 20 years later, you want to outlaw eye black. Stop. Stay out of sports. If you don't love sports, stop sucking the life out of it for kids. It's hard enough to get these kids that are overweight and out of shape to want to play sports. And now I don't care if they wear any kind of face paint. I don't care if they want to wear makeup. Wear whatever you want as long as you play. We want to get these kids to play more. So it just stop. It's just you're ruining sports, and I don't understand why.
I read some things from Andrew McCutcheon and Hunter Green yesterday about the Negro League stats being added to MLB.
What'd they say?
Love it. Love it. Love it. And
because like I said, for the history of it.
Not only that, but the main reason, Hunter Green, Andrew McCutcheon, feel the same way we do about African American athletes playing the sport.
We don't know enough of them.
And they were saying, like, it's so glad that people that don't really follow baseball at the year of 0 through 8 now can look at these stats and have them comparable with Major League Baseball that's been talked of for 150 years.
There's a 60-year window of where African Americans and Latino players were not allowed to play in Major League Baseball. It should be recognized. The statistics should be the 2,300 players that they're putting in there. They should be recognized. They contributed to the game, the beauty of the game, playing it as hard as any white players were playing it back then. And so I honestly think the statistics should be recognized. How we recognize them, I'm not smart enough to understand all that. You're going to have to figure that out.
There is a link right now on MLB.com trying to explain a lot of that, maybe where some things will fit in, where they won't. And I don't think they have the final say just yet. They're still trying to work out a lot of details as far as asterisks go or just telling the story within the stat sheet.
But I do love it.
I love it, too.
I think it's fantastic.
I'm glad people are learning.
It's a good step forward. All right, that does it for our early pickle. When we come back, we'll do the first dibs question of the day.